Well, getting to win number 9 is sure is special. Every win is a great win and a special win, I promise you, and it's celebrated and treated just like that around our building because it's so hard to win in college football. The way our guys continue to prepare and get themselves ready week by week continues to inspire me as a coach and our staff. But to be able to to be undefeated at home for the second time since I've been there, send them out as winners in Romney is a big deal for this class, the winningest senior class ever at Utah State, and everything that entails to be able to win your last game. We all remember that last game in Romney, those of us that played there. So that's really special for those guys, and so I'm happy that this senior class can go out the way it did, and so it all boils down to one game, and quite honestly, it's the next game for us. And ever since the loss at Colorado State, when you take yourself out of the driver's seat, you have to live with the consequences of that. We've lived with it. We found a way to get up off the mat every single week, put ourselves in the same position we did last year. And so to get to this point, I think is it's a great thing for our program, for our kids, but it just puts us one step closer. And so there's still things that we can control, and we're going to only worry about that this week. We can't control Air Force. We can't control Colorado State, so we're not even going to worry about that. We obviously will know the result of that on Friday. I get that. That's real. It's real talk. But our attitude, our effort, and our preparation throughout this week, that's what we'll worry about, and that's what we'll have to control. And so because of that, I feel real good about going into this week. And however it is, whatever it shakes out on Friday night is how it shakes out. And so our guys will be prepared for this game, no matter what happens on Friday, because at the end of the day, it's a big game for our program. Boise, as it's been brought to my attention, and I had to go back and double check, which I did this morning early, has only lost 4 games in 15 or 16 years at home. And so the bad news is that's reality. The good news is that there were 4 in the last 15 years. So it's you're telling me I got a chance. So that's all we want. And I know our kids will be extremely happy to go out there and play on national television in front of a national television audience and to go compete against Boise State. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for a bunch of questions.
What do you feel about Kevin Wimpy?
Situation,
do you have any idea?
Don't know yet. No, they're looking at him again today, and it was obviously precautionary to take him out of the second half, and so we'll see where he's at. He'll be very light today and tomorrow, I'm sure, in practice, and probably be a game time decision. Honestly, it'll be something later in the week that I'll know. So.
Does that mean not having him in there and the impact of
Next man up. Big leader, emotional leader, but he'll be the first to tell you it's not about him. It's not about me. It's not about a quarterback. It's we'll have to if he's not able to play, we'll have to overcome it. There'll have to be some shuffling going on, or another man step up, and I expect whoever to come in there and play at a very, very high level, and I expect us to play well around him.
You've actually had Albrecht come in a little bit, so you've moved guys around a little bit.
Yeah, the good thing is we've got some versatility up there. Tyshawn Mosley can play tackle or left guard. Bill Vival can go out and play tackle or guard. Albrecht's played every spot up there except center. So, and he actually snaps in pregame. So that's a good thing.
You guys scored some points in the USA Today Coaches Poll for the first time in the season. What's that mean for you or the program?
I think it's just recognition of consistency, success amidst adversity. It's like I was talking to Coach K on the way down here. As a coach, you sit there and you look at it and you go, "Oh, we're 9-3," and all I think about is the 2 that got away. just as a fine line as we were to winning the game in overtime on the last second kick and being 11-1. There's the same fine line of probably us being 5-7 or whatever right now too. So I recognize that, but I think it's a neat thing for us to be recognized in that. But I think it's all that's based on is one number, and it's in the left-handed column. And it's called wins. That's what it's based on.
Even though you say that you can't control Air Force and you can't control Colorado State on Friday, what are you going to be doing on Friday night?
I'll be watching the Tulsa East Carolina game or the Virginia Tech Virginia game in the ballroom of the Grove Hotel in Boise. That's the truth. I will be. Well, that's what we do on the road. Yeah.
And that game's at 1:30.
Yeah. We'll know by the time we get off the bus, I think.
Will you try to get together or listen as a team or anything like that? Or?
To that game?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's got no bearing on the next day. All I'm worried about is Boise State. So, I mean, this is our world, right? Every one of our players will know by the time we get off the bus. So will I. So, that's today's age. I mean, but I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to throw a pep rally if Air Force wins, or are we going to have a funeral if they don't? No. I mean, we're going to go about our business and play our very, very best game at 8:15 on Saturday night. That's the only way to go about this. We got a chance to win 10 and maybe a bowl and tie the best record ever in school. We got a lot to play for, I promise you, no matter what the outcome is on Friday. But guess what? We put ourselves in that position, and we have to live with it. So if we win and we don't make the championship game, that'll be 8 months of trying to figure out how to go undefeated. So that's the name of the game. It's a competition. This isn't T-ball. This isn't T-ball, 6-year-old T-ball in the summer where everybody bats and everybody goes around. And, here I am coaching my first game in June, and, there's 3 outs, and I'm trying to get everybody to hustle off the field, and everybody's got to tell me, oh, no, Coach, everybody's going to hit. So, I got Wyatt Wells sitting there looking at me like this, like, Dad, you said 3 outs, we switch, So this isn't that. I mean, you lose a game against Colorado State, and you went out and you still don't get it in the championship game, it's part of the business. It's part of the drill.
Well, if you do tie for the championship, will you consider the semantics of winning the division or not?
I will, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's just, you're a competitor and you want to win, and you recognize if you lose a game against Colorado State, then you're going to be faced with the consequences. And so whether it gets you in the championship game or not, we'll wait and see. We'll all know after this weekend. So, and if we get in, we won't apologize, and we'll tee that thing up in Romney and let her rip.
What would that mean to tie the best season record thus far? I mean, you have a chance to win 11, maybe.
Right.
I mean, what would that mean for your team and your program?
Just means Gary doesn't have something on top of me. I mean, I've done it as an assistant. You called plays for that team. I feel like I'm a part of that too. Our players do. I think, Bailey, I mean, it's hard to say right now, today, right in the middle of it, what it means. You got to, maybe it's the off season, you look back. Maybe it's 10 years from now. I don't think our seniors really understand the era they're in right now in Utah State football, which is cool because you don't have time to come up and breathe. You got to keep grinding and go right to the next opponent. But they've accomplished a tremendous amount, but I think playing for 10 regular season wins is a huge thing. I mean, are you kidding me? How many teams win 10 in the regular season right now? It's hard. It's hard to do, and so that's huge. And then be able to, maybe get into a bowl game. Not maybe, we will be, and win 3 straight and be in 4 straight bowl games at Utah State. And you're talking about, you're talking about things that have never been done at Utah State before. So to be a part of that is, yeah, it's pretty cool. Absolutely.
Looks like a classic battle, offense, defense.
Something's got to give. Yeah. You got the Mountain West number 1 scoring defense, and the number 1 scoring offense in the Mountain West. So something's going to give. We'll see. They got the best back in the league, and we got the best linebacker in the league, and let's go.
shut out 3 of the last 4 teams you played in the second half. That's meant a lot, I know, because of, again, the offense having to, with the new quarterbacks and things like that.
Right.
Do, isn't it?
Right. Well, it has said a lot, Alan. It's been huge, and I think I would say this for the offensive staff also, but I think it's a reflection on some halftime adjustments that Todd and the defensive staff have made. I think it's our defensive leaders have stepped up after halftime, and the New Mexico first half and even the San Jose first half just quite weren't on point, exact. I mean, dead to nails like it had been earlier in the season a couple times, and that can be expected. I understand that you may not play perfect every game, but when the expectations are really high for your defense, your leaders recognize that. They've really kind of flipped some things around the last 2 weeks at halftime and played lights out in the second half. And offense has fed off of it, and so offense has been able to score some points and extend those leads, and then you get teams that turn into one-dimensional teams, and that's exactly how you want them to be on defense.
And at this point, with the way offense has gone, this last little bit, the way Myers has run things, this has got to be, obviously a step for him. Every game gets more and more confidence.
Absolutely.
It's got to be in a pretty good spot for him to be in for this game, too.
It's as good a spot as he could be in right now going into I think each and every game is a bigger test for him. It was on the road, then it was on the road in the weather, and then it was coming back home in front of his, all the fans, and then it was, can I do it twice in a row? And the problems that San Jose presented, especially early to him, and now he's going to walk into Boise, and it's a tough environment to play on the road in, and they've been very successful there at home, and so each week gets a little bit bigger for him, and each week I think he takes a step forward. So he's in as good a spot as he could be in right now going into this game.
Guy from Idaho wanted to ask on this press conference, are you amazed and surprised at how your team has played with all the changes at quarterback this year?
Amazed, yes. Surprised, no. We did it last year. But, one thing I told all you guys, right after oh, my goodness, it seems like 2 years ago. What game was it? The Wake Forest game, and then after the Colorado State game, when Chucky got hurt, and then when Darryl got hurt, we knew the recipe for success. We knew it from last year, but and I said that doesn't guarantee success. And that doesn't guarantee that we're going to follow that same recipe this year. We have almost to a T. So that's maybe what's amazing is 2 in a row. It's back-to-back. It's all the starters gone 2 straight years. This year a little bit more on defense than last year, obviously, but, all the quarterbacks out. It amazes me. But it doesn't surprise me one bit because of the makeup and the character of that locker room, and those kids continue to persevere and face adversity head on. The culture of that locker room is at a really, really strong point right now, and so that's why it doesn't surprise me, but I'm amazed at it, yeah.
Yeah, defense is throwing a lot of stuff at Kent, and how was he responding to that?
Pretty good, yeah, especially that first start, Hawaii threw the book at him, and we anticipated that going in, and I thought he handled that real well, Kurt. A lot more man coverage this week. Last week, San Jose, this past week. And so we've seen a little bit of it. The other 2 teams were a little bit more zone. And Boise's going to be a mixture of it all. They're going to be very multiple. They're going to pressure big-time package and move around and do all the crazy stuff on third down. But, we've seen it. Now we got to go out and we've seen it. We see it in spring ball and training camp. They're as close to our defense as anybody in the league except Hawaii, because that is our defense. But they're odd front, multiple, go to even front, play a mixture of man and zone in the back end, and then they're going to pressure and have their third down packages for him. And so he'll have to be really, really sharp, especially on third down.
Exactly bounced back as well as your team has. What they've been able to bounce back and continue to get wins.
Well, I'm gonna point it right back at the players, Bailey. They're unbelievable. We can preach all we want, but until there's buy-in, you're not going to have belief. And there's complete buy-in. You know, my fear as a coach is not now at this point in our program the buy-in. To me, my fear is the young kids coming in the program or the JC transfer kids coming in the program walking right into a 9, 10, 11, whatever win team and saying, yeah, this is cool, this is the norm. No, it's not. You know, you don't just show up and win. And so them learning how we do it is the most important thing. It's not the what. The what's the easy part. It's the how. And so the buy-in equals the belief. The more you buy in, the more you believe, even when things aren't perfect. The more you invest, investment, film junkie, all your treatment, the way you live your life off the field, the way you take care of your bodies, what you put into your body, all that kind of stuff. The more you invested, then the more you're going to have at stake. And the harder it is to give up and the harder it is to give in. And that's where we're at right now. And it's an unbelievable deal right now. And it's a credit to those players and the leadership that we have in the locker room.
Do you think the small town culture of Logan has anything to do with that?
Shoot, I don't know. That's a good question. First time that's ever been asked. Doesn't hurt, you know. In the summertime, there's sure not a lot to do. You know, you got to create your own fun, and those guys just grind. I mean, from lifting to running to stuff that they do together as groups and individuals as within the group. Excuse me. The things that they do, you know, to build up team bonding and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. I can say this: there's distractions everywhere in every college in America. There's just a lot less in Logan. But if kids aren't individually motivated, then it doesn't matter how big a town it is.
So you come into Boise State, Vegas has you guys as the underdogs.
Oh, they do? No, I mean, whatever. We'll show up. We'll play. I didn't know that, but I mean, we've won games as the quote unquote favorite or underdog. Our kids don't look at that one bit.
You and Brian Harson both talked a little bit in Las Vegas about how close you guys have kind of been and talked and things like that. Obviously, that stops this week, but then after the game's over,
yeah,
it won't be a heated discussion like you had last week after the game either with a coach and all that kind of stuff. But still, can you talk a little bit about you and him and how
Sure.
close you are,
yeah,
what you've done and things?
Well, Brian and I go back to when was the first time we played him? Probably in like 2003 at Tulsa. I was at Tulsa with Steve, and we were in the old WAC. And Brian was the tight end coach at Boise in the WAC, and we played each other every year and ended up exchanging maybe some ideas and talking some ball. We did a lot of the similar stuff on offense, just with multiple tight ends and all the stuff we did with flexing out tight ends, and he was coaching the tight ends. We were both two young tight end coaches that were both quarterbacks, and we just kind of hit it off. And Chris Peterson was the offense coordinator, and we had a couple close battles. They won every one of them. I remember that. But just over the years, we're very similar in a lot of ways, and so I think we became good friends easy that way. And he's been a good friend, and we both became head coaches just a week or two. Yeah, really, days apart, literally, maybe a week or two apart 2 years ago. In fact, we were in Boise at the Potato Bowl when he became the head coach at Arkansas State. And that first year, quite honestly, we talked probably once a week just in all the transition. And you got two young head coaches that had no clue what was going on. And he was a week or two ahead of me, and I just kept asking him, when is this thing going to slow down? And he's like, well, no, it's not. And so we had some good discussions, but yeah, he's a good friend of mine. We are. Yeah, there's a lot of parallels to the stories and the careers right now, but he's a good friend. He's a good football coach, and he's kind of like me. He's living his dream out, and he's at his alma mater, and we both have good teams, and we both, both programs, I think, play really hard, and we kind of have the foundation of some similar characteristics.
Have you seen a different identity with the Boise State teams now that Chris Peterson's at Washington?
Have I seen
A different identity?
with them? No, not really, because I mean, Brian Harsin was the architect. He and Pete of that offense for so many years, and so you see a lot of similarities. I know he still has his hand heavy in that offense, just like I do here. But they're very multiple on defense. They were the same way, odd and even, and pressure packages and all that, and I think they are very, very similar on offense. So I wouldn't say they've strayed too far.
Zach should be Defensive Player of the Year.
Absolutely.
Can you kind of just talk about why you would vote for him?
Because he's the most dominant defensive player in the league, and I don't think it's even close. So, did we already vote for him? Not yet. Okay. That's a bias, but as I look at every one of them, and that's no knock on any other linebackers in this league, it's just that this kid has done this since the beginning of the season. I mean, he's a second team All WAC. He's a second team All Mountain West last year, and then this is, he's going into this year. And to me, he's played himself into an NFL draft pick, and he's played himself right into being the defensive player of the league. And so, absolutely, I'll vote for him. And I think, right now, if there was an offensive player of the league, it's Jay Ajayi's right there, Garrett Grayson's right there. You do. You got the best tailback in the league and the best linebacker in the league going to collide Saturday night, and it'll be a matchup, big time matchup.
What does Zach do the most this year?
I think it's, and not to knock his brain, because that kid is unbelievable how much film he studies, but he's done that for 3 straight years. I actually think from contact within the box to finishing a tackle, I think he's improved a step. To see him come and shed blocks, whether they're backs or tight ends coming out of the backfield, or it's an uncovered guard, from the time he collisions and sheds to finishing a tackle, I see a different cat. And it's like he's a possessed man to get to the football. But I really do think he's taken another step mentally. He knows the defense as well as anybody in the building, and he's done a great job. But he's done that for the last 2 years. I just think he's really physically taken another step in the right direction, and therefore I think that's why you see more tackles, more TFLs, all this. I mean, he's on this kind of climb right now in the record books in our school and record books in the Mountain West Conference. He's after him, and I think that's why NFL scouts are starting to really, really take notice of him.
Do you see similarities with him and like Bobby Wagner, what you saw in his senior year?
Yeah, two little bit, a little bit different type players. Bobby had all the speed that you would want from sideline to sideline. Zach is really physical at the point of attack. But in a dominating way, yes. Yeah. How they can take over a game, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's some similarities there.
Any more thoughts on, or have you had any more discussions with San Jose State after the end of the game the other night?
No, ma'am. What you got?
Possibility Las Vegas Bowl, you and Utah. You guys match up there.
Would it be awesome? They're pretty good. And we play them next year, game 3, 2, whenever. I don't have any comment on that because I really haven't thought one bit about it. We'll figure it out at the end of this week, and then probably going to be a whole another week away, I would assume, till the championship game's over, till you get all that. But yeah, that would that'd create a stir in the state, wouldn't it, for you guys? They're good. All right. Thanks, guys.